Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's lesson. My name is Miss B, and I am so excited to take you guys through a math lesson. And today we are going to be talking about bar graphs. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all, and you guys can follow along, and we can go through this lesson together. All right, so like I said before, my name is Miss B, and we are going to be talking about bar graphs. Now, before we jump in, can you show me by a thumbs up or a thumbs down, have you ever worked with bar graphs before? Give me a thumbs up if yes, a thumbs down if no, or maybe just kind of a fist if it sounds a little bit familiar. All right, hopefully you guys are giving me a thumbs up, but even if not, that is okay. You guys do not need to have worked with bar graphs before in order to watch this lesson. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in, and we are gonna go over our standard and objective. So at the top, we have our objective, and it says, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to build and interpret bar graphs. So this is what our goal is for this lesson. We will be able to take information or take data and build a bar graph out of that. And not only that, we also want to be able to interpret bar graphs we see. So if we see a bar graph that someone else has made, we want to be able to read it and get an understanding of what that information is telling us. So we'll check back in at the end with this objective, but that is what we are wanting to learn. And our standard is to draw a picture graph and a bar graph with a single unit scale to represent a data set with up to 4 categories. Solve simple, put together, take apart, and compare problems using information presented in the graph. So all this standard is just kind of a standard for everyone in the state. For our state of Arizona, this is an Arizona standard, but that's just making sure that you are learning the same thing that other kids your age are learning. So that is the standard there. And again, we will jump back to the objective and make sure you guys feel like you have it under control once we are finished. All right, so for this lesson today, you will need paper and writing utensils. Now, I would like it if you guys could grab multiple pieces of paper. I just have some blank pages here. If you guys, whatever paper you have is totally fine, but I think that blank paper would probably work best. Maybe graph paper if you have it, but just blank paper and then writing utensils. I made sure to put an S so you guys know we need more than one. Hopefully if you have colored utensils, that would be the best. But if you don't, that is okay. I'm going to be using lots of different colors today, so I have markers in here for that purpose. So go ahead and pause this video if you need to and grab those materials. All right, hopefully you have gotten what you need to and you feel ready to go and ready to learn. Like I said before, if you don't have any of these materials, that is okay. They will just help you as we start to go through our lesson, and you'll just be able to follow along a little bit better. Okay, so before we even jump into any practice problems or anything, I just want to talk about what are bar graphs. I know I had you guys answer at the beginning if you've ever seen a bar graph before, but just it always helps when you're entering a new topic in math or really in any subject to ask yourself questions about that subject. Have you ever seen a bar graph before? How do you think it works? I don't know, what experiences do you have with bar graphs? Those kinds of questions will really help you to take the knowledge that you already have and apply it to what you're going to learn. So bar graphs are actually really helpful when recording information. They actually just give us kind of a visual aid when we want to compare information. And using different colors can help to make the comparison stand out. So on the top right, this bar graph does not really have any information on it, just because it's not a real bar graph, but this is an example of what a bar graph could potentially look like. So in this situation, you see we have kind of a purple, a red, a yellow, and a green. And you can also see that it looks like the purple is the highest, and then maybe the green is the second highest, and then the red, and then the yellow is the lowest. So by seeing that, we are able to see the differences in like the height, right, of these columns. So it gives us a great representation of what a bar graph kind of looks like and how it can be used. So now that we have talked about that, I am going to show you guys how to create a bar graph and how to do one. So you guys do not need to get any paper or materials out right now. I would love it if you guys would just watch me. And I will explain some of the key points of actually creating a bar graph as well. So at a local zoo, this is the problem we're going to do. At a local zoo, there are 5 giraffes, 4 zebras, 7 tigers, and 3 lions. So watch me build a graph, and then we'll kind of look at the differences. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen with you all so you can see what's happening on my paper. So when we build a bar graph, I'm just going to take a color, and I'm going to create the grid here. So you kind of draw like an L. See how that's a little bit of an L? Awesome. So what happens there is I'm going to draw a 0. So on this axis, we call this the y-axis, all right? The y-axis. This is where we label our numbers. So in this particular problem, let's see, I'm gonna look back at it. It says, at a local zoo, there are 5 giraffes, 4 zebras, 7 tigers, and 3 lions. So we don't have any numbers that are really go past 10. So I'm going to use 10 in here as our highest number. So I'm going to label this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. All right, so I left a little bit of extra space up at the top, but we have it labeled to 10. I think next time I would definitely make them spaced out just a little bit more, but this is perfectly fine. Now, this is the y-axis where we put our numbers. On the bottom, we are going to put our labels of what data are we collecting. So in this case, I would put, let's see, giraffes, right? Zebras, tigers, and lions, okay? So, giraffes, zebras, tigers, and lions. Now, one important thing about building a graph is that you always want to label your graph. And the reason why is so that the people, your audience, the people who are looking at your graph, they know what you're talking about. So on the x-axis, we are going to label animals at the zoo. Okay? Animals at the zoo. And on the y-axis, we can say how many. So normally I would actually put this label down here, but I did not leave enough room for that. So that is why I am not putting it there. So let's just take a look. First, I'm going to start with the giraffes. I'm going to record the data starting with the giraffes. When I look back at my problem, I see there are 5 giraffes. So I'm going to take a color, and I always like to kind of do a new color for each one, so it helps each data point kind of stand out a little bit. So I'm going to go up to 5, okay? And I'm going to draw a line right here next to 5. Now, some graphs are perfect. They are exact. For this particular graph, it is fine by me if it's not exactly perfect. If you can get it as close as you can, that is great. Just make sure it's not really far off, because then that is not accurately representing the data, and that is just not a good representation. So just do the best you can. But I like to bring my bar a little bit down, and then I like to fill it in. So If someone looks at this, they can look and see, oh, how many giraffes are there? Oh, they see 5 giraffes. Now, let's move on to our next data point. We are looking at 4 zebras. 4 zebras. So I'm actually going to be done with this color because I want a little bit of a contrast. So now I'm going to pick a new color and mark 4. So I look at the 4 right here and I bring it over where the zebras are. Okay. So got the zebras, we have 4, and I'm going to color that in. Perfect, perfect. So you guys can see when you're comparing giraffes and zebras that there are definitely less zebras than giraffes, but maybe they're kind of close in number. All right, let's keep on moving. Now we have tigers. Okay, tigers. I'm going to get a new color and we are going to label that. So my problem says that there are 7 tigers. That is a lot of tigers. So I'm going to find the 7 on this scale right here, and I'm going to move all the way over to where the tigers are, and I'm going to mark that on there. All right, draw my bar graph down. If I take it across, we're at the 7, right? And I like to fill that in. Perfect. And now that we have filled in the tigers, let's just look at the lions. Our problem says that we have 3 lions. So I'm going to take a color and find the number 3 and move over. Here we go. And do 3 lions. All right. So just by looking at this chart, you guys can tell, without even looking at the numbers, can you guys tell me, okay, which animal had the most? It's tigers. And we don't need to look at how many. All we need to do is look at, okay, this bar is taller than the other ones, right? Well, now tell me which one had the least. It's lions, right? And again, that's not something we really need to even check with the numbers because we can see that that is the shortest graph or bar on there. So that is our final graph for my problem. Now I would love for you guys to get out a piece of paper of your own and let's do another one together. I'm going to share my screen with you all so we can read this problem and then we will start to build it together. Okay, so here is a problem for us to try. Janie asked her classmates what their favorite flavor of cookie is. 10 said chocolate chip, 4 said sugar, 4 said snickerdoodle, and 8 said oatmeal. Great. So now let's build this chart together. All we have to do to start is to draw kind of that L shape, right? So I'll draw it and then I'll show you. So our y-axis and our x-axis, see? Just like that. And then we will get labeling. So again, I'm going to start with 0 at the very corner here. This is 0. And then I'm going to start drawing little tick marks and numbering. And I'm just going to go up to 10. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so we are going all the way up to 10. And again, they don't have to be perfectly separate, but as good as you can make it is awesome. And now let's label what we are putting on the x-axis. So that would be the flavors, right? So I'm going to write chocolate chip, and then we have sugar, snickerdoodle, and we have oatmeal. Perfect. So we have those 4 different flavors written out. And now what I would like to do is just to label our X and Y axis. So on the X axis, which is this one down here, I'm going to write cookie flavors. Cookie flavors. And then on the y-axis, again, I would like to write it here, but since there's not a lot of space, I'm actually going to write it over here. I'm just going to say number of people. Number of people. Okay. So we have cookie flavors and the number of people. Now, can you guys tell me, just say it out loud if you need to, what should we do next? What should our very first step be? All right, hopefully you guys said to look at that chocolate chip number and find where the 10 is on this scale. So take your very first color that you want to use. I'm going to use blue for chocolate chip. And let's find the 10. Let's find the 10 up here. Remember, kind of mark it and then draw our bar. Perfect. Now just color that in. Awesome. So this is our very first representation of our chocolate chip cookie. And how many people like that? All right, now what is our next step? Hopefully you guys said to find the sugar cookies, right? How many people said sugar? 4 people. So let's find 4 on our chart. And when you guys find 4, go ahead and put your finger on that. All right, so we are going to do the same thing as always. We are going to find that 4, kind of move over to where the sugar cookies are, right, and draw our bar. Perfect. I'm going to fill mine in. Awesome. All right, now snickerdoodle. How many people said snickerdoodle? Hopefully you guys said 4. Now wait, how many people said sugar? Oh, 4 said sugar. That is the same amount. 4 and 4, that is the same number. So that actually makes it a little bit easy for us because all we have to do is look at where the sugar is and make our snickerdoodle the same height. Because they are both at 4. They should be the same height. And I like to fill that in. Now, what about our oatmeal? How many friends said that they like oatmeal cookies the best? 8. All right, what is our next step? We need to find that 8. Let's look up here. Oh, I see the 8. I'm going to kind of run my finger over the oatmeal. And I'm going to write that. Perfect. Draw our bar down and color that in. Perfect. All right, so this is our finished graph. And we know it's finished because we have recorded all of the information that was in our question, right? And we have all of our labels and our numbering. And so if someone saw this graph without reading the question, they would be able to understand what is going on and what we are asking. So if someone saw this, I could ask them, hey, do you think more people liked chocolate chip or oatmeal cookies? And just by looking at this, they could see, oh, I think more people liked chocolate chip cookies. And they could also see, oh, the same amount of people liked sugar and snickerdoodle. So that is why a graph is so helpful. It really helps us to represent things that are hard to kind of talk about or show people in other ways. So now that we've done one together and you guys have watched me do one, I would love for you guys to try one on your own. Of course, I will share the answer with you so you know if you did it correctly or not, but I'm sure that you guys, I'm very confident that you guys can do it. So go ahead and pause this video, take all the time that you need, and try out this question. All right, hopefully you guys did just that and you took the time to actually try to do this question. Let's read it together. It says, Connor collects rocks of different colors. He has 10 red rocks, 3 blue rocks, 7 yellow rocks, and 5 orange rocks. Build a chart or a bar graph. So I actually built the bar graph so you guys could see if you did it right, if you did it correctly or not. So here is the chart that I came up with. Of course, it has our label of rock collection. We have red, blue, yellow, orange, and it is labeled on this side as well. And you guys can see, okay, he had the most red, second most yellow, third most orange, and then blue. This is what your chart should look like about. Of course, if it looks a little different, that is okay, just as long as it's representing the same type of data. So that is what your chart should look like. Hopefully you guys got that. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you guys are doing just awesome. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys again so we can just go over our objective for the day and then we will be finished. So here is our review. Our objective today was by the end of this lesson, you will be able to build and interpret bar graphs. Do you all feel like we have reached this objective? Give me a thumbs up if yes, a thumbs down if no. Hopefully you guys are all giving me a thumbs up right now. I'm sure you did an awesome, awesome job. I know that we built a couple bar graphs together and we kind of talked about how to find that information. You guys built one on your own and you got to check your answers. If you guys gave a thumbs down and you feel like, oh man, I have no clue what I'm doing, feel free to use some of the resources that are available, or just watch this video again and see if that helps out. Bar graphs are just so, so helpful when you are trying to show people data so that they understand when comparing the differences in data. So that is all for this. That is all I have today. So I hope that you guys have an absolutely awesome rest of your day. Keep learning. Keep using this information to help you in your math journey, and I hope that you guys just have a great day. Bye-bye.